Welcome to Catacris Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.catarix.com, and my name is Jason JROCK Houston, and we're speaking with lead singer Adamo Fiscella, and the name of the band is Ghostatic. Is that correct?
It's Ghostatic.
Ghostatic. Okay, so let's get right into it, Adamo. You're Italian, right? So, are you originally from Italy, or are you American citizen born here?
No, I'm from America. I'm third generation now. Originally from Long Island, but I reside in Cleveland now.
Oh, Cleveland, Ohio, and that's home of one of my favorite other singers, Tim Owens. Have you ever been to his club there?
Oh, which club is that?
I thought he used to have this thing called the Tap House. I don't know if that's still there.
The Tap House? Well, ironically, the show I'm playing is at Avenue Tap House.
Oh, I don't know if that's the same. I don't know if that's the same thing. He used to have a club there. Okay, well, in any event, tell us a little bit about the first name, Adamo, because I like that. It's kind of different, and I definitely can tell you, I've never heard the name before. Your parents ever told you the story behind it? Because it's a cool name.
Well, when people say, hey, I love your name, the first thing I say is, like, I had nothing to do with it. My parents were probably high as fuck when they named me. I don't know. But, no, I was... they told me that they were thinking about the name Adam, I think, and then my grandpa, like on a whim, last minute, was just like, name him Adamo.
Oh, that's cool. That's a cool story. So let's tell us a little bit about the band, Ghostatic. How long has the band been in existence? And just to let people know, kind of, I was reading the press release the publicist sent me when we set up the interview, and it says the band is described as all-encompassing presentation of sounds and experiences. I mean, that would get me to kind of, I read that kind of like, I kind of want to go see what that's all about.
Yeah, well, that's sort of a representation of, Ghostatic is it's all-encompassing because I also do stuff in the realm of paranormal world of paranormal investigation. I host a TV show on Paraflix, and I've been shopped on a few other shows for Discovery and stuff like that, but it's something I'd always been into since I was a teenager, and the word Ghostatic stems from actually it's a typo, but it's based off of like this one experiment you can do where you take like an old school camera, like a camcorder, and you plug it into the RCA jacks in the back. If you remember TV, like Tube TVs had them. We don't have that. Yeah. For you youngsters, you might not know, but when I was young, I'd take that camcorder, and what you do is you point the camera on the same video channel that it's live on the TV. You point the camera to it, and it creates this weird field of like, you get all these weird visions, and sometimes they say it kind of taps into that world of the unknown, and sometimes you'll actually capture images of what it looks like people standing around, and it's all it is just the camera feeding back into itself by facing and recording the TV screen.
And let me, and it's amazing talking about that kind of Stone Age technology. You look at technology, what it is today. I mean, I remember when I was a kid too, around the same time. I remember they had those big ass, video cameras everybody used to, carry around on their shoulder, and looked like a TV camera when they first came out, and then it went. Then it went to like a VHS-C a little.
Before me.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a difference in our age, but yeah, I remember seeing those. I like not in person, but yeah.
No, but I'm talking about you get to modern day, and everybody's got a video and a camera on their phone. You can carry it in your pocket. It's just amazing, the technology. But all this ghost stuff. How did you first did you have an experience, or what's the story? How you first kind of got into that?
Yeah, we'll start, I guess, at that. I had an experience when my friends and I broke into this. Well, I'm not going to say we broke into.
Okay,
it.
Yeah.
We got into this abandoned insane asylum near Cleveland, outside of Cleveland, Ohio, and it's long gone now. They tore it down, but I ended up cracking open this door down to this really decrepit hallway of this massive hospital, and when I opened that door and first got a look at it, it was, this is before social media and stuff. I was 16 at the time. Never saw anything like that in my life. And it was not destroyed, or it hadn't been, vandalized or anything. Not many people knew about it. It kind of like made my heart drop. It looked like a scene straight out of a movie. I didn't even believe it was real. At the time, I had a disposable camera. I took 3 pictures down the hallway and went back to work the next day. Was because I just started working at a 1-hour photo lab. This is when we're talking.
Wow.
16.
Yeah.
So, if for all you guys don't know, you develop film in an hour, and it was disposable, 35mm camera. Well, I developed the film, and I look at the last 3 photos that I'd taken, which were the last 3 in that hallway. 2 of them came out clear. The third one, there was a lady standing right in the center of the hallway of a bluish hue, and it was unreal. I looked at the negative. It was on the negative. There was nothing wrong with the chemicals on the machine. That was the first time something had ever happened to me where I was like, I can't explain this. This is crazy. And I showed it to my mom, and she's like flipping out. She's like, don't ever go back there again. And I could expand more on that, but it would take a long time.
Yeah, well.
Like, the experiences that I've had after that were also pretty crazy. But that was the first one that like really shook me.
Well, and then like, what made you want to, when you walked up upon that site, the abandoned hospital, call it, want to go in there? I mean, was this a place that you'd heard stories about, kind of like a haunted house in town? That'd be cool to go see, and then you go and check it out, or did you just kind of happen to stumble across it?
Well, word of mouth. Somebody had mentioned it.
Yeah.
I don't know. So long ago, I can't remember, but it was somebody had mentioned it. You know, it's like that's how you learn things.
Folklore, yeah, legend, local.
It was just word of mouth. Some kid probably said something, or somebody had said something, and I was like, oh, that's not too far from my house. And so we just went.
Local legend. And before we get into your music and the band, you also were mentioning to me that you have a TV show kind of related to that. So tell people a little bit about the show and where they can check it out.
All right. Well, the show is properly titled Ghostatic. That's why when I say Ghostatic, something that's all-encompassing, that term ended up getting used for the show recently on Paraflix, which is a video on-demand service, like, for example, if you just, if you have A&E or Discovery Plus or Pelican, it's like that. You can get it on Roku, Amazon, Apple TV. Yeah. They're working on a Netflix deal right now to be able to just stream directly from. But it's like $3. It's $4 a month. But if you go to the website, Paraflix.com, and you use the promo code Ghostatic25, you get 25% off your subscription. Now
let me ask you, when you were first kind of coming up with the idea to do this show, what was the process as far as getting approaching the streaming service and getting them to kind of give the show the green light in that?
Well, right off the rip, I put a documentary out a couple years ago. End of 2018, going into 2019, I put a documentary out, self-produced, self-made, just to show people, with the intentions of trying to get the attention of a production company, which I did. But I got signed to a company that was pitching me to A&E for a year.
And that's not bad in itself.
Show with my ex-girlfriend. I used to live in England at the time, actually, and she was English, and we had a good thing going for us. But things didn't work out between her and I, so therefore the show couldn't work out. We ended up not getting picked up by A&E. I ended up signing with another company, a much larger production company, because at the time I had like 15 or 16 different production companies hit me up asking me if I wanted to host a TV show, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. I didn't know.
So the demand was definitely there,
It turned out that it was the right place, right time, good timing, but unfortunately that show, I developed 2 shows with them. Neither of them, I don't know if they went anywhere. I mean, I'm still working with them technically. I just don't. There's just nothing being shopped right now. So I have this independent contract with Paraflix where I can just create my own content as I please. I do all the production with I have a videographer and stuff like that, and that's what I'm doing currently with Paraflix. So it's kind of like I got in touch with the owner of Paraflix. I don't even know how, but when I got in touch with her, it just was like, you can still maintain a contract with the larger company, but just provide us this content for the time being. And I was like, sweet.
Yeah, I love hearing stories like that. First of all, it shows what a creative guy you are. That you got. I mean, there are plenty of people that come up with a great idea, they think, but then it's another thing to get somebody to like that to sign on and say, oh yeah, we dig your idea as much as you do. In fact, that you have a company that initially was involved, like A&E. I mean, hey, you're a pretty good company right there. Even if that didn't work out, I mean, next time you go and try to present one of these projects to another production house or whatever, you say, A&E was really seriously looking at this, and I mean, that's a good thing to kind of have in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's sort of like bragging rights, but at the same time, the show did not pick it up, so I didn't get the full release. And so, it's like I had sex for like 2 years and I never finished.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you're right to a certain extent, but some people don't even get to that, get to that point where they almost kind of it's kind of like, well, maybe next time. And the fact that you got a show now, the deal with Paraplex, so you got the current show, but there are hopes that maybe if you develop other things, they may allow you to do those shows as well.
Oh, I already have. I already have some things in the works.
Well, I tell you, my friend, when you're...
I can't really speak about yet because I've started people signing NDAs about it. But there's another concept that I've already come up with that I've pitched to 2 production companies, and they bid. But the only reason why I'm not following through right now is because I'm currently being shopped on 2 other shows. But I'll tell you this right now. The beginning of next year, 2022, I'm going to probably exit with the production company I'm with right now that is pitching me to Discovery Plus and Pelican, and go with another one that I'm already talking about. But in the meantime, all this independent stuff that I'm doing for Paraflix will still be ongoing until then. Oh,
that's cool. I mean, it's paving the way for what hopefully is down the line. And let's keep in touch, Adamo, because while we're really focused on music, we're really promoting the people that we feature on our site, because such as you, because the primary reason I'm talking to you is about the band and the music. Obviously you're into other things, so we're into promoting anything that you're kind of involved with, if you know what I mean. And so
I appreciate it.
And I love the fact, because it's kind of, the music itself is very different than, say, Alice Cooper. But Alice Cooper I would kind of compare it to only because very much how Alice is considered like shock rock, and if you go see an Alice Cooper live show, it's much more than just it's an experience, if you know what. It's much more than just him playing the songs the way you hear them on the record. I mean, if you want to do that, you stay home and listen to the record, but
he's very theatrical.
It's entertainment value, and even kind of what you're saying, I think it's the comparison I'm kind of drawing is the fact that you're all into this ghost stuff, and you're kind of centering that, you're kind of bringing that and your music together is what it sounds like. And I think that's there's so much you could do there. I mean, you could even take maybe stuff, from a TV show and play some of the video. I don't know, but you get what I'm saying. You kind of incorporate your 2 loves.
Yeah, there's a cross ground. There's a gray area in which both kind of overlap.
Yeah.
For example, running my songs as the title sequence for the show is part of it, and the sound, the texture, and the sonic delivery of the music is somewhat sinister and dark. But it's not. I don't want to base, and I'm not basing
everything
music on ghosts.
Okay.
The subject matter of the songs covers everything.
I guess I kind of made that leap or that jump because just based on the fact that even just the band name is kind of okay. Well, this obviously the band's name kind of, because that's kind of something you're interested in, and
I had a band prior too. It's funny. I named my old band, which we were relatively successful. We'll name it, but I named that band after a paranormal experience as well. So there's an ongoing theme, I guess, because it was just always something that interests me, and it was fun, and everybody likes to get spooked, and everybody has a ghost story. So it's something that's relatable, and as for the music, it's kind of got that darkish vibe.
And see, and even as far as having a dark vibe or whatever, and that paranormal kind of connection with it, I could see like doing a live show, or even like having a Halloween theme around, once a year, having a special kind of show like that, and maybe you're gonna have a ghost experience or something like that. I mean, the imagination just kind of goes wild, but you could go there if you wanted to.
Well, the premise for the TV show that I'm pitching is somewhere in that vein. And yes, I do love doing Halloween shows, but usually Halloween is such a busy time for me to actually provide content for the paranormal investigative stuff, and most of my music gets released in the fall, I would say. Yeah. So it's it's super busy. I would ironically, I don't know if it's just a strange twist of fate, but being from Cleveland, Ohio, at least being here for the last 20 years of my life, 15 years on and off, I've moved in and out, but I always come back. It's cheap to live here. Like, you have bands here like Mushroom Head and Ventana, and they all kind of have that same like Halloween vibe, like they're wearing masks, makeup and stuff, which is not what we do. It's not what I do, but it seems to be a very popular holiday and a very popular theme for bands to take on.
And I think part of the reason, especially talking about hard rock, even metal bands, you know, that kind of fan base, there's a huge portion of them that love like horror, love Halloween theme, love anything like horror related, you know?
Yeah.
So you got that connection.
It's funny, at 8 o'clock I have an hour-long video interview for a paranormal show today as well. So
cool.
Speaking about this on there as well.
And then the new single we were mentioning is called The New Revelation, and you got a video for that, pretty cool video. Talk a little bit about the song and anything significant, like was it based on anything in particular?
So, Ghostatic as a project has been my brainchild. It's basically, I'm like the Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails.
You have a face, the voice.
I do everything.
Yeah.
You know, I'm creating the music, and then I got a band that I kind of bring along. And at that point, they just play the music that we find a way to make it work live.
Now let's talk about.
It's very electronic. And go ahead.
I was gonna say, let's talk about the EP. I know you have an EP out now. The question in regards to that is, can people get it? Is it just released digitally? Can people get physical CDs if they want?
You can contact me. I could get you a physical CD, but I don't think anybody even know. I don't have any CDs made. I got you.
Okay.
Maybe I was actually thinking about going super retro and making tapes, because tapes are what a lot of people used for paranormal investigative stuff. Tapes were it's something about the way they work, the way they record. It's all analog.
Yeah.
It would kind of fit the theme, but. Again, I don't want people to get the wrong impression. The music isn't about ghosts; it's about everything.
Oh yeah, it's about it.
You know.
But you know, not even really have anything to do with ghosts. But it's funny that you bring up releasing stuff on cassette, because you know, for a while now, vinyl's been kind of making a comeback. But I'd say over the last year and a half, I've seen where labels are starting to release stuff on, you know, tape. There's this one label, Rat Pack Records, that George Lynch and Michael Seeder on. They're releasing all their new releases on tape.
If you want something physical, that would be cool. And a tape has a very just like vinyl. Tape has a very unique characteristic when you listen to it.
Yeah.
I like it because it reminds me when I was a little kid. Like the first thing I ever bought was a tape. It was an Anthrax tape, Enter Medusa.
Wow.
That was like when I was 5 years old. And my brother told me to buy it. My brother kind of influenced my musical choices as a kid, so he made me buy that, and I don't regret it. It was a sweet tape. I liked it. I was a little kid. I was in kindergarten listening to Anthrax.
Yeah, and you brought up Anthrax, so I'm going to ask you, do you have a favorite era of the band as far as who would you say is your favorite singer from Anthrax?
Well, the guy from SOD was... what the hell was his name?
Neil Turbin?
Yeah, he wasn't a vocalist for Anthrax, though. That was a totally separate project.
Yeah. Well, they've had like Neil Turbin, which a lot of people don't know because he was like on the first two.
Yeah, that's not the guy who I'm thinking. I mean, it was the main guy who was their singer for
Joey Belladonna. Yeah.
Yes, I knew it was Italian. It was an Italian name.
Isn't that funny?
Those guys were from Long Island.
Yeah.
They were from New York.
Yeah. And the reason I want to ask you about Anthrax, besides you bringing it up, is I was just doing a show with somebody last night on the fact that can you believe Anthrax has been around? This is their 40th anniversary this year.
Oh God.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But yeah, you know, and then the other thing I want to ask you about the EP is you're talking about how you're kind of the face and the voice behind this project. So are you kind of like on the actual songs like a one-man band, or do you have other musicians play on the songs with you?
No, it's just me on these songs. So what you hear, like what we're going to perform live, is a more rock version of these songs. There's guitars and there's drums, but everything has been played and performed, written, recorded, produced, mixed, and even mastered by me. So when I do these things live, I have a live band element.
Yeah.
But what you're getting out of the recordings, like if you're streaming, because I'm on every, I'm sure I got I deal with Imagine, which is part of that whole Warner umbrella thing, Imagine Records.
Yeah.
They take care of all the distribution and all that, but the music is, it's all me. I would say it's about 70% electronic, about 30% rock and live, but the vocals, it's vocally driven, so that's mainly what my focus is. I still try to maintain some kind of commercial catchiness with the melodies and stuff like that, and the structure. for the most part, can be commercial, but I have some that are a little bit like departures. Like that cover song is a totally different song, basically, in terms of how it is played out, and the sound of it, and the chorus is totally different for that "Don't Stand So Close to Me" cover I did. But for the new Revelation, going back to the video was a post-apocalyptic, like Mad Max style theme.
Yeah.
And I actually, for once, just let somebody else kind of take the driver's seat in terms of production of it. My videographer, Black Veil Studios, he's great. He goes by the name of John Vale.
Yeah.
And I just gave him free reign on that, and I obviously stepped in a lot once he got the bass idea, and I was like, all right, well, we're going to do this and that. So he basically came up with the idea, and then we just co-produced it and co-directed it as I was in it.
And how happy have you been with the response, from people that have been seeing the video on that?
They like it. I mean, it's interesting that the responses I've been getting on YouTube and stuff. I had it featured on this big like rock channel that does a lot. They release a lot of videos for rock bands, and both independent and signed. And I cleared it with Imagine and allowed them to put it on there, because my YouTube channel is like active, but it's not super active. I got maybe, I think, 3,000 subscribers, something like that. But I post on there maybe like once every month,
Hey, that's pretty good. Just for kind of a just putting the first single out. I mean, that's pretty good response. And the best kind of compliment I can give you is when your publicist sent me kind of a press release about you and the EP and the band and the video. I was thinking, I had no idea. I've never heard about this band before, but I have an open ear, so I'm like, I'm going to check this out. And the best compliment I can give you was when I was watching the video for the first time and listening to the song, I thought, okay, first of all, a lot of times when you're listening to something for the first time, you might think, oh, these guys sound like Metallica, they sound like Aerosmith, whatever the case may be. And I thought, okay, they're definitely got a hard rock kind of metal, not extreme metal, but kind of it's got a little bit of an edge to it. But the best compliment I can give you is and I'm just basing this on the one song. It doesn't sound like anything I've heard before, and I think that's part of the reason it'll appeal to people. Anytime you do music, create music, probably your influence come out a little bit, but listening to the one track, I'm like, I can't really say this is like anything else out there. And I think, again, that's why people are going to like it, because it's kind of got an original kind of thing going for it.
I appreciate that. That's probably the best compliment you could give to a musician, if that's where they strive to be. But a lot of musicians just want to sound like other people. I gather, influence from many artists and musicians throughout the years that I've looked up to, but there's a select few that kind of stand out. Some people from the grunge era. I mean, in terms of what I write and create, it doesn't really sound like who influences me. But it's two different animals. I don't think I do appreciate that compliment though. And if you listen to a couple more of the songs off that EP, you're gonna see that it's like, if I would suggest listening to the cover song I did. Don't Stand So Close to Me by The Police. I did a cover of it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. See, and again, you listen to one track and you watch the video, and people then probably kind of, based on their own, judgments. Oh wow, they covered a Police song, but that's not a bad thing, because the cool thing about that, maybe it's listening to New Revelation, people might not expect you to cover a Police song, but I dig that, because if you've never heard of a Police at all, or even just Every Breath You Take, that's all you've ever heard by the Police. Again, you're not going with the obvious choice as far as a cover tune. And people say, "Oh wow, I like that. Oh wow, that was a Sting song. Wow,
Yeah, some people might not even know it's a cover.
yeah, and that's the cool thing too. That's what I'm talking about, because some people, they go with the obvious cover. How many bands have covered, for example, Stairway to Heaven or Rock and Roll All Night? I mean, that's what I dig about it. It's that, again, you didn't go with the obvious choice,
I can name a few songs that people just won't stop covering, like Cry Little Sister, or so many. A lot of like Phil Collins songs.
Oh yeah, I mean those are kind of instant, like there's no, if you want to have a hit with a cover, like that's kind of obvious choice, to go with. But I guess the other thing I wanted to ask about, as far as the live band, have you guys had a lot of rehearsals as far as rehearsing the stuff together? And I'm assuming it sounds it sounds quite different with the live band behind you as opposed to just what you did on the recordings.
Yeah, it's going to sound different. That's the point. You know, I want people to have multiple experiences. I don't want people to show up at the show and just expect to hear a recording of what they heard on the whatever they stream from. You know, if they heard the production. So it's more of a raw version. More guitars, there's a live drummer. You know, there's some things that are tracked, obviously, and I got a keyboard up there, and you know, but I mostly sing and play a little guitar in there as well. And I'm also working on some acoustic versions of these songs, if you can imagine.
Oh, that's cool too, because I mean, you can really kind of totally break that stuff down. I mean, one of my favorite things they ever did was like Kiss Unplugged, and a lot of those songs on the CD, like those are a lot of tunes that they hadn't played live, like in over 15 years, let's say, and people are hearing a lot of those stuff for the first time, hearing like it in an unplugged version, and a lot of that stuff, depending on the song, a lot of times you can kind of really give it a real kick. It just depends on the song, I guess. But yeah, I love stuff like that.
Yeah, same. I appreciate the unplugged stuff because then you could really hear every nuance in the melodies and in the voice. It's not processed. I try to, I don't like a lot of people, go that super production route, which is what I did with this release. But I want to make sure people know that I can do this without all that production.
Yeah, and then as far as the recording of the songs, I was curious, like kind of your one-man band, and that's cool in itself. And people do that for a lot of reasons. I mean, it's a great way to kind of, especially if you've got your own studio, wherever you're recording, kind of be able to just do it all at once and not have to wait for people to be able to fly in on the weekend or whatever. But as far as the drum parts, did you were they electronic drums or did you play an actual drum kit?
Well, for the new Revelation, it's all programmed. All the drums are not played. Everything else is played and written and performed by me, but the drums are programmed. I mean, I hate to break it to every...
No, but I guess the reason...
Every album out, even on the biggest labels.
Oh, yeah. So. I'll tell you why I'm bringing it up, because I talk to a lot of guys who are kind of a one-man band, and I always dig that because, for a lot of reasons, I mean, especially if you're playing, everything, you might primarily be a singer or a guitar player, but a guy, I mean, like, even guys like Jamie Lane from Warren or Steven Tyler, they started out as drummers. A lot of people don't know that, and so you can go in the studio and you play the guitar, you play a little bit of bass, and you do it all. I think it makes you a more rounded musician, and you have a better understanding for what the rest of the guys in the band are doing,
Yeah, you're right, and you do have to have a focus, though. My music is I would say it's well-rounded in terms of what the focal point of it is.
Yeah.
But especially with rock music, which is kind of where I come from.
Yeah.
You have to have a drummer mindset.
Yeah.
Because if you're programming drums, I should say, because I play a little drums.
Yeah.
But I know what to hear and what fills should come in and variations on cymbal usage and all this shit. And, I use different time signatures. Yeah. I'm a stickler for percussion. I'm not one who just puts a kick and a snare on the fourth. Or the fourth beat. I definitely like to break it up and do some offbeat stuff that obviously came from influences
and I kind of want people to understand that because I'm not a musician myself, but I'm more of anything like a music fan, and I really like, to me, like I said, it's one thing to go, let's say, put on an Alice Cooper record, but you go see the man live, you're getting an experience, you're getting your money's worth, and so very much like when somebody puts on your EP, want them to understand that's one experience, but especially the fact, okay, understand what you're listening to is kind of programmed electronic drums, but you're going to have a live band when you go see this live. You're going to have some playing the drums live. It's going to be like double the experience. You know what I mean? It's going to be well worth seeing. That's kind of my interpretation of this.
Yeah, you're right. It's going to be a different sound, and let me tell you, it's not easy. It's not easy getting a band together and doing this kind of stuff. So, and it's not cheap.
I guess that's the final thing. We should discuss is the band now. As far as the band, like this is your live band, and this anytime you do any type of live shows, could be the same guys, or do you have different guys depending on where you're?
For now, it's going to be guys and girls. My drummer's a girl.
Okay,
actually.
Cool. And so who are they?
Yeah,
tell us about your band.
What's that?
Tell us about your band. Like who's in the band?
So my friend Todd, Todd Schwartz, he's a guitar player. We go way back, way back. In fact, he taught me how to play the guitar when we were teenagers.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah. I just went off in a totally different direction now. Yeah, where he's in it. Gavin Kerr is the bass player, and he's doing some backing vocals for me. And my drummer Bailey, she's drums in a lot of bands, but this is like the first real, like, legit band she's drumming for. Young, she's only like 24. Yeah. And so everybody comes from different, influences and whatnot, and a lot of these guys. I had another person in the band, but it didn't work out. Timing and using. I'd like to keep it 4 pieces.
Yeah.
Much as possible, because managing 5 people. That's another reason why I got out of the band stuff and started producing electronic music for like 6-7 years.
Yeah.
I started doing a lot of top lines in production for bands, or for like dance music and stuff overseas from like 2013 up until like 2018.
Well, I'll tell you what I dig about that attitude is I think a lot of people would be amazed to learn that it, like, even I've talked to like guys that play in LA Guns and some of those guys, I know one guy in particular, Adam Hamilton. He used to be the bass player. He does a lot of production work now, and he does everything from music for TV shows and sporting events, and it's a way to pay the bills, and you kind of, and I dig the fact that you're into TV stuff and you're doing a little bit of everything. Kind of just because you're a hard rock guy or metal guy doesn't mean that you can't produce a dance track. Why not?
Yeah.
And that's kind of, now as far as having a girl drummer, that's pretty cool. And I hate to ask obvious questions, but obviously you knew this cool drummer, and she's a great drummer and everything. But did you have any reservations about? She's a girl. I don't think that really matters. But that's kind of cool.
No, actually, when I saw her play, I was like, you know what?
Doesn't even matter. Yeah.
No, I was like, she's good.
Yeah, that's all that matters, really. Yeah.
She's cool. She's cute. She's just another. I don't know. She fit the role.
Yeah.
So, we'll see how it works out.
Yeah. Well,
I never know in terms of availability for long-term touring.
Yeah.
We've already been talking about it because on the 18th we have a show at the Avenue Tap House in Lakewood, Ohio, December 18th.
And have you guys played pretty locally, or you plan to get like to go to other states? Or?
We're already talking about trying to put together a tour in the spring and summer. So I mean, I'm ready. A lot of the guys in my group are. It's just a matter of getting the dates lined up and getting everybody's work schedules built around. Yeah,
and would you say, like, what was the point when you really got into music, or you kind of knew that music was your thing that you wanted to try to take a shot at doing professionally?
I was, when did I decide? I decided much later in my life than most people.
That's interesting.
I didn't actually start singing or picking up a guitar or anything like that until I was like about 20.
And would you consider yourself like a guitar player first or a vocalist first?
A songwriter first.
Oh, that's interesting, and I dig that because some of my favorite songwriters are. I listen to everything from Kiss and Aerosmith, Whitesnake, Tom Petty, The Who, the Eagles. So a lot of those bands I just mentioned there. If you listen to any of them, they're great storytellers. They're guys that actually. Give some thought to their lyrics, and they don't just, it's not all about the same thing. I mean, really the only band that can kind of get away with that is AC/DC,
Yeah, if you got that, they have their own pocket. They're in, their own smile.
And if you try to duplicate that, then you get accused of being a kind of copycat band. But I guess the final question is, who you mentioned Anthrax, but who are some of your influences as far as singers and guitar players that influenced you to kind of do what you're doing?
Well, I'll start off by saying I keep my finger on the pulse, so I stay current with music, and I stay current with like pop culture, social events. So like, I'm big on TikTok. It's probably my biggest outlet. Actually, I have like 25,000 followers on there. So with that being said, I'm going to name some artists who are. You might not even know the genre I'm talking about.
That's all right. Yeah, I would, because we want to hear your story, what you're into.
So old school, what I like when I was a kid, I grew up in the grunge era for the most part. I caught like the tail end of it because I was a little younger, but 9 Inch Nails was a big influence. Tool, I would say more like, I'd name names of the band, like Trent Reznor, Maynard James Keenan, Jerry Cantrell.
Yeah, we know about
Chino Marino from Deftones.
Yeah.
You know, the big heavy hitters from the mid-late 90s. And then up through the 2000s, there was a lot of like generic rock that had been coming out for a while, but there was some good stuff that had some good flashes in the pan. I won't even get into detail on that.
Okay, yeah.
And then later on, when I started producing electronic music through like the 2010s, I would say, and all the way up until now, currently, there's artists like, more recently, it's like dark wave and ambient bass music is something I definitely have gotten into quite a bit. Zed was big for me in like the mid 2010s. He was a great producer and a great he was just classically trained, a great pianist, all that shit. Way more than what you would think these guys in the dance music are. They just press a button and that's how they get their music. No, it's actually a lot harder to produce that music than it is to produce rock music. I come from both genres, I promise you. Unless they're doing, you could tell when somebody's got an original idea and when somebody's just using loops.
Yeah. Well, everything influences everything else, and what I will say to that is, like I said, I'm pretty much a music fan is what I am. I'm not I can't play a music instrument. So anybody that can do what you do or get up on that stage and kind of put on a live show, I got all the respect in the world for somebody to even, give it a shot. Because I'm not capable of that, for example, but I love to listen to the music. And I will say, I'm not much of a rap music fan, but I'll tell you this, even to be a rap artist, that takes a certain level of talent. I mean, I could never kind of come up with some of those raps they come up with and match that to music. Yeah, I mean that's all day thing, sometimes.
Yeah, that's their thing. They focus on the lyrics and they do a lot of wordplay. A lot of the cadence is important. I actually songs that I've rapped on have gotten probably some of the most hits I've ever released on music. I have a song called "Fuck That" that came out under the name Public Affair on Born Recordings, and it came out. It's an Australian label, and that one popped off. I heard that one getting played at EDC in Vegas. I didn't even know it was played. I wasn't there. It was DJs will just play your music. I did a hardstyle song with another guy from Denmark. That one popped off on another EDC. I remember seeing it played in massive, like these big festivals. You don't even realize your music's blown up sometimes. In the dance world, it's a totally different animal. But you know what? I love them both. I love rock for its raw.
When you do stuff like that, I was curious, like, have you ever been in a dance club and heard one of these tunes you play on, like, you like seen people getting down to your song, you know what I mean?
Oh, if DJs have mixed, it has happened more than once.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, and I'm like, oh, that's me, and they're like, who the fuck is this? But the thing is, people don't really know, like, dance music is so big, it's kind of tapered off. I think it's kind of plateaued in terms of how exciting it was an exciting new genre. It was like everybody's like, oh, the last movement in music was grunge. I'm like, no, actually, it was electronic music in the 2010s. When Skrillex when dubstep and Dead Mouse and Skrillex kind of blew up that whole thing. And that was a big, massive genre. If you weren't part of it, then you didn't know about it. But that was massive, and that's why festivals that play only that music house the most. They draw the most people of any concerts. You go to EDCs, you go to any of these big raves. There's 100,000 people that show up. That is a movement.
Wow.
I don't know why people aren't acknowledging that. That is the latest and biggest movement was dance music.
Yeah. And I kind of agree. I kind of disagree when people say, rock is dead. I don't think the rock is dead. I think the thing is, they don't have rock stars like they used to. You know what I mean? For example, when I was growing up, anyways, every band always had a guitar hero. And then by the time the 90s came, had all these new metal acts. I remember all those bands saying, we don't do guitar solos. I'm like, why the hell not? I mean, probably the last band that really got me excited that I think is full of rock stars is the Dead Daisies.
I'm not familiar.
Okay, you ever heard of John Corabi was in the band at one time. They got now Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple. He's the lead singer. They have these guys kind of come in and out, which is kind of the most amazing thing about the band. It's kind of centered around this Australian guy, David Lowery. He's a guitar player, and Glenn Hughes is a frontman right now, like I said. But it doesn't really matter that they have like a revolving door of members. People just love it, and every guy kind of is like a rock star. I mean, they got a look. They bring something to the band. It's just kind of a cool thing, and they got the songs.
It's cool. Rock isn't dead. It's just if the kids aren't playing it, then that's not what's in. And the kids are into hip hop. 90% of it is like hip hop has become pop music now.
Yeah.
And pop music has become very popular. And there's other movements like this new like hip hop pop, like this hip hop punk rock thing that's going on. There's a lot of things going on that I don't really like it, but I know I have to understand that if the kids are listening to it, that's kind of what governs what's cool or not these days.
Yeah, and just because you're not into it doesn't mean somebody else isn't to it. And even I have, kind of that appreciation. It's not all about what I'm into, because other people like different things, and that's the way it should be, And we mentioned.
I can tell you this. The music has been dumbed down.
Yeah.
By a gradual. It's been a gradual taper since like the '60s, and it's just kind of gone down.
Well, what I hate is
what our parents listened to.
Yeah.
When they were kids was cool. It's just the cycle.
Yeah. What I hate is the cookie cutter stuff. Like when grunge did become big all of a sudden, start dropping everybody that was popular, and we're going to sign nothing but grunge acts. And like anything, the cream of the crop rises and kind of stays, and the rest of the copycats kind of fall by the wayside. I mean, even you look like a band like Alice in Chains. I think part of the reason they've survived all these years from that grunge era is because they even have kind of a metal, kind of a Sabbathy vibe to what they do. So,
they had like an arena rock sound on their first album. If you really listen to it, the way it was produced, and Lane's voice, they were not really grunge initially.
No, but that's what people kind of dub them. That's what I'm saying. And so they kind of fit in that box. Man in the box, oddly enough. Now, we mentioned Anthrax a few times and talked a little bit about rap and dance. What did you think when Anthrax had their big rap hit with their cover of Bring the Noise? And they bring kind of the Anthrax and the Public Enemy fans kind of unite.
Oh, man. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You're talking about things that happened. I was a little too young to appreciate how it affected the main and people. I was just too young. My older brother would have maybe had a better opinion.
Well, I'll tell you this much, because maybe I'm a little older than you, but you had the like Anthrax hardcore fans that thought they should be nothing but metal. There was a bit of a backlash to it, but then a lot of people did come together, and that was kind of just like when Aerosmith and our Run DMC did their thing. It was unique at the time, and in Anthrax case. I think what gave them their cover of that a little more legitimacy was they were actually fans of Public Enemy. They didn't just do it because hey, let's do a rap song. It wasn't like just a novelty. It's something they was really into, and so it did have that legitimacy. I could talk to you all day, Adamo, but I know you got things to do, so we'll get ready to wrap it up. Is there anything else you'd like to let the folks know about before we do?
Got a show December 18th. Anybody in the Cleveland area? I got people flying in from all over the place, actually. But I got a show December 18th, Lakewood Avenue Tap House. Tickets are $5.
Hey, you cannot beat that. If that's not a reason to go out and support this band, I don't know what is. And
there's some merch. If you guys want to support me, if you go to my Instagram and just click the shop button, I have some merch on there. I have these cool beanies that if you just email me, I could send you personally. I'd have them custom made because I couldn't get them anywhere else. Just stream my music. The more hits I get on Spotify and Apple Music and whatever, the album's out everywhere, the better it looks for the label, the better chance it is,
Okay, Adamo, thanks for doing the interview. We'll be posting this in about 2 weeks. I'll let you know the minute it goes up. Thanks for doing it. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, you too, man. I appreciate it.
Okay, bye-bye. Anytime.
All right.
Chaotic Riffs Magazine.